Welcome Lund loyalists to John Lund Unleashed. Those watching on YouTube, on the John Lund Unleashed and Bay Area Sports Collective channels. Viewers on X, Instagram, LinkedIn, and Facebook, and Lundos listening to the podcast on Apple and Spotify. John Lund Unleashed, brought to you by 𝐟𝐸𝐵L Sports Medicine. Got pain? Check out our revolutionary stem cell treatments. And guys, if low T is bringing you down, 𝐟𝐸𝐵L Sports Medicine can put you back in the game. Now all juiced up and ready to go, here's Johnny.
What's happening? Thanks for joining us. Yesterday was the slowest sports day of the year, so the biggest story was a comedy sports combination, Shane Gillis. So I think it's funny. I like comedy, but the rest of the country doesn't because we take everything far too serious, and the crowd that he was trying to make laugh did not want to laugh. I mean, they're athletes. They're not laughing. They think everything's very serious. And you can't make fun of the president anymore, and you can't make fun of this group or that group or that group or this group. Everybody's waiting to be offended. Most people who didn't even see it were offended. I don't know, offended to be offended? I don't know. But comedy officially dead in our country. And I'll tell you a couple of stories, too, because we used to have comedians all the time. Not as much on KNBR, but on 95.7 The Game, anybody would come in because we had some sponsorships, Cobb's, and a number of comedy clubs, and we'd bring these guys in, and look, they were hit and miss. There's no doubt about it. And one of the weirdest on-air situations ever occurred at 95.7 The Game, and I was there that I'll tell you about as well. But the internet divided on Shane Gillis and people being so offended, the president, and you can't take shots at Caitlin Clark, and you can't do this, and you can't say that. And it's like, he's a comedian. It's what they do. Our country has turned into, and look, it's all about sports today. And we always have fun on the show if you're new around here, but my God, man, it's like, that's what comedians do, man. Everybody just is sitting, waiting to be offended. Oh my God, you offended me so much. Just relax, man. Can anybody take a joke anymore? My God, it was ridiculous last night. The reaction to everything. Oh my God, people like getting all mad because he made a WNBA joke. This were a random girl in the crowd, and he goes, "This is so and so." And then he's like, "No, nobody knows who a WNBA player is." Like, relax, man. Oh, I'm so offended. Really? All right. Just like the rest of the sheep, like, they're just following the sheep. Oh, that person's offended. I must be offended. Like, you can't do any comedy anymore. The hardest thing right now, it's not to hit a baseball. It's not to be a quarterback. It's not like, try being a stand-up comic right now. I mean, seriously, we had years and years ago, and I know this is going to age the show, but we had one of the better comics we had in studio, Papa and I, at 95.7 The Game was Bob Saget years and years and years and years and years ago. And this was, cell phones were getting big. And so what was happening was that they would just take snippets and they would take them out of context. And so Bob Saget was like, we got to take phones away. We can't, like, people were getting offended by things when they would have like small clips of things and everything. And it's like, when you walk into a comedy club, you want to laugh. Last night for Shane Gillis, it's like, we're a bunch of entitled athletes. We're not going to laugh. That's not cool. Laughing's not cool. Like, everybody's treated me my entire life like I'm the center of the universe. You're making fun of me. You can't do that. Like, honestly, I'm a Shane Gillis fan. I don't get offended by anything. I have rhinoceros skin because I've been in the public eye for 30 years, and there's a lot of people who just hate their life and do certain things for a living and punch the clock 9 to 5 and get pissed off. And so, they would get mad that I got to talk sports for a living, and they would just constantly take shots at me. I told you in Detroit, they had a website dedicated to hating me. And at that point, I just said, so what? I mean, I decided at that point, I don't care. I have rhinoceros skin. You can say anything you want about me. Now, my family, it's a different story. But you say anything about me, I don't care. Say whatever you want. I don't care. Life is good. I don't get offended. I'm not easily offended. But the rest of our country, the biggest problem I had about last night was nobody can laugh. Like, nobody can laugh at themselves. Nobody can laugh at other people. We can't have any fun at all. Everything's got to be so serious. Fuck. Sports is the toy box of life. And you can't have a guy go up on stage last night, crack a few jokes without everybody being offended. And all these articles being written about, oh my God, what a fiery monologue. It wasn't even a fiery monologue. Fiery monologue? Have you ever been to a comedy show? Like, everyone's ripping Shane Gillis. Oh, fiery monologue. I mean, look at this right here. This is out of the New York Post. Shane Gillis, fiery ESPN monologue, completely divided the internet. Shane Gillis, savage ESPY's monologue, took aim at Caitlin Clark. No, Aaron Rodgers, Trump, and everyone else. Yeah, that's what they do. Comedians are equal opportunity offenders. If you offend everybody, then who can be pissed off? Like, my God, man. Again, I know it's a sports show, but it's the slowest sports day of the year yesterday, and I got a ton of sports to do. But I'm just watching that last night going, are you offended by being offended? Like, what are you offended about? Like, what's the big deal? Oh, everybody's got to have their proper, like, nobody can make fun. You can't have any fun anymore. Nobody can joke anymore. Nobody can take a joke anymore. It's like, relax, man. Relax. Have a little fun. Joke a little bit. Be real. Everyone walks around waiting to be offended. And if they didn't, 99% of people who got offended last night probably didn't even see it and just went, yeah, that person was offended. I'm offended too. Like, just relax. Can we have a little bit of fun? Can't anybody laugh anymore? Can't anybody laugh at themselves anymore? Like, you got a bunch of serious athletes out there making millions of dollars who have been treated like gold from the moment that basically they won the genetic lottery, and they just can't make fun of themselves. So obviously it's the wrong crowd. Like, he walks in there and everyone's waiting to be offended, you know? And what's funny about it is ESPN is like the leader of all of that. And then they put Shane Gillis up there, and it's like, that's what he does. Like, his whole bit, like, people who had never seen him before last night were like, all he does is he makes this joke. And it's like, I didn't do it. That's his whole bit. Like, that's his whole bit. He's probably the most famous comedian right now in the country. And that's his bit. Like, what he did last night is what he does. And all these people were acting like, oh, my God. Like, did you see him on Saturday Night Live like a month or 6 weeks ago? He had some of the best sketches that Saturday Night Live's had in 10 years. Like, the couple of beers. My God, it was hilarious. He had a bunch of good ones. Like, whatever. Stop being offended. You're not offended. You're just like walking with the sheep. Oh, I guess I've got to be offended. That was offensive. He talked about Caitlin Clark. He talked about the president. Nobody can do that. Oh, my God. That's going to divide the country. He made fun of Aaron Rodgers because no one does that. My God. I mean, it's like even the most tame joke that he had. It was just like everything's just thudding all over the place because everyone's just sitting there like, we are serious. Our country is serious. We've got to be serious. That's offensive. Oh, jeez. God, comedy is dead. I mean, seriously, I would never be a comedian. Never, 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 never. Like, the hardest thing, hit a baseball, be a quarterback, whatever, and name it. Nothing's harder than being a comedian right now because you're going to offend 1,000 people. And I would never do that. The ESPYs, the Oscars, any of those kind of things, those people aren't walking in to laugh. Like, you're talking about athletes who think they're the coolest thing ever and the world revolves around them. And then you've got people, then it's like the Oscars, then it's the, I'm in the movie. Oh, you're so important. Oh, my God. Don't laugh at yourself. That's for sure. No, of course, I'm the greatest. I have people just catering to me constantly. Why would I laugh? Did that guy make a joke about me? Should I be offended? Like, that's what's so funny, too. You know this. Some of the people with the largest, gigantic egos in the entire world, no matter what they do for a living, are the most sensitive people. Like I said, I've been doing this for 30 years. Some of the athletes, some of the media members, some of the people that you think should be some of the most confident people in the world are the people that act like that and have that big, front. And then behind the scenes, they go, should I be offended by that? Did that go okay? Like, I'm just like, what? Like, I've seen that hundreds of times where I'm like, dude, you? What's wrong with you? Like, people, was that okay? That's what I mean. Like, so when they get made fun of or there's a joke or anything, they get so sensitive because they don't know how to react because everyone tells them how great they are 24/7, 365. And then somebody makes a joke about it. Is that true? Do I really look like that? God, ridiculous. Sorry. I don't usually start the show with a rant, but my God, I couldn't wait. It was just like, I'm watching that last night going, just laugh. It's funny. Like, just laugh. Why are you so offended? You're not offended. It's not offensive. Like, I don't know when we're going to swing back the other way, if we ever are going to swing back the other way, but my God, man, nobody can take a joke. Nobody can laugh at themselves. Nobody can relax and laugh themselves. Oh, whoa, am I offending someone? I think somebody around me is offended that I was laughing at that joke. I can't laugh. Am I kidding? No laughing. No laughing. Everything is very serious. God. Ridiculous. All right. It is episode 193. Thank you so much for joining us. That was my monologue to start the show today. Episode 193. Here's the other thing, too. Sorry, I can't stop. If you're offended, it's kind of like food. Ooh, I don't like that food. Good. Don't eat it. You don't like Shane Gillis? You don't like a certain comedian? You don't like a certain... Turn the channel. No, I don't want to turn the channel. I'm going to watch this, and I'm going to be offended. I'm going to get pissed. Like, why are you angry? Why so serious? Like, just relax. Okay, you don't like it? Turn the channel. You don't like it? Don't eat it. You don't like it? Don't go to the restaurant. Like, things that I don't like, I don't consume. I don't watch Screaming A. Smith. I don't watch FS1. I don't watch shows during the day. I don't look to be offended. I don't. And if somebody, like I said, it would take a lot to offend me. And if somebody were to offend me, I don't consume that in any way, shape, or form, whatever it is. It could be comedy. It could be a movie. It could be an actor. It could be a person. It could be a media personality. Could be a team. Could be a player on said team. Like, whatever. I don't consume their products. For example, Draymond Green is a basketball player. I have a boatload of respect for it. Draymond Green, anything off the court that he says, I have no interest whatsoever. So I don't consume his podcast or anything else. And the only time I ever listen to anything he has to say is if it has to relate to the Warriors and a story about the Warriors that I've got to talk about. That's it. Other than that, when he's on TNT, click. I got no respect for anything that he says. He's a great basketball player, but that's where it ends for me. But again, I'm not offended by anything he says. That's cool. Great. Wonderful. When and if Charles Barkley retires and they put Draymond Green in that seat, that's the end of Inside the NBA for me. But that's okay. Like, I'm not a fan. Not everybody's a fan of me. It's fine. If you don't like the show, you don't watch the show. You don't listen to the podcast. I get it. That's okay. I'm not for everybody. And I'm all right with that. You know, Shane Gillis last night, not for everybody. So rather than bitch and moan about it, just turn the channel. Don't watch it. Oh, I'm so offended. He made that joke about Caitlin Clark or Donald Trump or Karl Anthony Towns or Shai Gilgeous-Alexander or whatever. Like, what do I care? I don't. Like, why walk around and be offended? I don't know. It's so weird to me. Like, everybody walks around like waiting. Like they're walking on glass. I can't wait. It's almost like I can't wait to be offended. I can't wait to get after somebody because, you know, I can't wait to just lash out. I can't wait. Like, just everyone's walking around on eggshells. Like, if you say anything, jeez, my God, man. Sorry. No, I'm not. Episode 193, slowest sports day of the year. Shane Gillis. I probably just did that. ESPYs. My God. The only reason I say ESPYs suck, I'm not angry. I've done the red carpet of the ESPYs. I've worked for ESPN. We've had to like smile and promote the hell out of it. I worked for ESPN for years. It's the greatest thing ever. It's just a self-promotional tool. The only thing that's great about it, the only thing that's ever come out of it that's really, really good is Jim Valvano and the fact that they give to cancer research. I mean, that part of it is really, really great. They do an amazing job of that. And when Valvano went up there and was like, what do I care? You know, there's been a few moments. I mean, Norm Macdonald, but again, of course, you got to be offended by that. The fact that Shane Gillis reprived that joke of Norm Macdonald when he did the, Heisman Trophy on Charles Woodson, and he said, they can never take that away from you. Unless you kill your wife and his girlfriend, then they can't take the Heisman away from you. So he did it, he reprised that joke yesterday. It was still funny, but people got offended by that as well, even though OJ's dead and did it. So, okay. But anyway, lots of stuff today. Giants post break. I do have the trade that is going to work for the Giants. We will hit up on a lot of sports today. Big deal, I think, that Collins, the big defensive tackle for the 49ers out of Texas, signed. I'll tell you why. 49ers offseason stuff, top 10 cornerbacks. No, Demo's not there. Barstool means you are desperate. I'll explain why. KILLA, Klay, and Megan Thee Stallion, which was Klay looks good. Did anybody see he got himself cleaned up? Like, normally Klay is like, whatever. If you know Klay at all, like, hair's kind of flying, beard's a little long, whatever. And he cleans up nice. He looked good. Random things happen throughout the show. We got a sweet, clean, family-friendly Caboose pistol about something that you don't see every day that was stolen. And I don't even know how you sell this thing once it is stolen, but that's really, really weird. Before we get out to the chat room and say good morning to everybody. Good morning, good morning, good morning. Just want to say, make sure that you subscribe to the channel if you are not offended, of course. John Lund Unleashed on YouTube. Thanks for joining us there. Make sure you hit a like so that the algorithm says right on, unless you're offended. And then, of course, make sure that you keep your alerts on because we send out stuff during the day. That big B in the corner is Bay Area Sports Collective. That is a collective of Bay Area personalities, lots of ex-KNBRs like me, and Polly Mack and Creative Tony. Creative Tony was our creative director at KNBR. Polly Mack was from the morning show. Of course, Tom Tolbert, Rod Brooks. And then we got some other great ones, which is the great Amy G and former Giants pitcher Jeremy Affeldt. So the B is Bay Area Sports Collective. So I know I'm asking you a lot, but John Lund Unleashed on YouTube, Bay Area Sports Collective, please make sure you're subscribed to both, if you would. Thank you very much. By the way, thank you so much for, I got to make sure that, okay, it's working. Thank you today for watching on Instagram at John Lund Radio, as well as X at John Lund Radio. LinkedIn, you're supposed to be working, but you're watching the show. Thank you. And Facebook, my personal page is John Lund Unleashed or John Lund, and then John Lund Unleashed. We have a show page as well. So however you're watching, thank you so much. Please, if you would, migrate over to John Lund Unleashed on YouTube and come into the chat room and say hello. We got a great chat room. People are great. People are difficult to offend in this room. We just have a good time every single day, and we'd love to add you to the room. So say good morning, and everyone will say hello to you, and your day will be better. All right, that's what we got going on today. Hello, JJ Raider. It is nice to see you. Good morning to the great Joy. Chris is here today, the 1420. Hello, Anthony. It is awesome to see you. Mark, hello. I had no idea. He did it as an ode to Norm Macdonald. That's why he did it. So he did it as kind of a, he was paying homage to Norm Macdonald. That's why he did that. Good morning. Also to, who else do we have? Yeah, he's still funny. Hey, Nick, how's it going, man? I've been great. Thank you for asking. I hope you are doing great. That is a great picture, by the way. Very nice. Again, here's the thing. I'm not really saying whether he was funny or whether you thought he was funny or whether what I'm fighting for, and this is what I've done my entire life, is your right to say it. You know what I mean? Without having everyone be fake offended. That's all I'm saying is, look, I think Shane Gillis is funny. I think Saturday Night Live, which was a couple of months ago that he did, some of the sketches that he did, like I said, were some of the funniest I've seen in a long time. I also get why some people don't think he's funny. I'm not sitting here saying, again, put ketchup on your hot dog. I don't care. You do you. If you don't like Shane Gillis, I get it. Big philosophy of mine, if you're new to the show, you do you. If you don't think Shane Gillis is funny, that's fine. Don't consume it. If you don't think certain foods are good, and I can tell, oh my God, this is the greatest place to eat, you don't like it, fine. We can still be friends. Like, if you don't like Shane Gillis and you didn't think he was funny last night, we can still be friends. That's not really the issue here. It's not whether he was funny or not. It was all these people getting offended by things that he said. That's what comedians do. Comedians pick out certain things in society and they're funny. Or maybe they're not to you. That's fine. But I don't believe that everybody's offended as they walk around and act like they are. We're just not. We just do it because we just are sheep. That's what it is. No, that, like Mark says here, look, I get it. And some people got on me about this and they were like, oh, well, if you had a daughter. I have a stepdaughter. Thank you very much. She's awesome. And I want her to do whatever she wants to do in life. And if she has, role models in the WNBA, and she's quite tall, by the way, that would be awesome. But it doesn't mean that Shane Gillis can't make a joke to illustrate to the fact that most people probably thought that person that he said was a WNBA superstar. Most people probably went, oh, okay, she is. Like, that's not offensive. I'm sorry. It's just not. It's not offensive. If you had a daughter, I do. Thank you. But thank you very much. Let's see here. What else? Let's see. Anthony is here today. Tim, it is great to see you today. Good morning. And again, I'm not trying to create. It's just I'm watching that thing last night going, God, I'm reading all the things and everyone's getting offended. I'm like, look, if you didn't think it was funny, that's one thing. I get it. You don't think he's funny? Cool, man. You think somebody else is funny? Great. But he's got the right to say it and without everyone being fake offended. My God, man. Who else? Vrock is here today. The great Vrock. Thank you for joining us as well. Good morning. Good morning. Kenny, it is great to see you. Kenny always has a great perspective on sports. It's Friday. Let's restart the march for the playoffs. Today's not Friday. You're screwing with me, man. Today's Thursday, right? Is today Thursday? Today's Thursday, right? Yeah, Thursday, July 17th. Man, that was evil as well. You just did saying it's Friday when it's Thursday. Nathan, it is great to see you, my friend. Sorry, my eyes are being wacky today, so I'm not seeing things quite as well. Danny, it is really great to see you as well. Eric, good morning to you. Very nice to see you, my friend. Francis, it is great to see you. I don't know if we've seen you in a while, but it is great to see you. Is that Maria? Mario. Sorry. See, that's what I'm saying. Mario, I apologize. Carlos, good morning to you. It is great. We've got a lot of people in the room today. That is awesome. I love it. Tribe is here. Mary is here this morning. We're starting to see Mary on the regular a little bit again now. That is very cool. I'm digging it. Let's see what else do we have today. A stem cell for the eyes. I know I need that, man. Okay, mini Friday. Yeah, that's a great point. That is really, really good. That's a really great point. Because everybody on Thursday, like, you ever go out on a Thursday night? Like, Thursday night is like, let's go. You know, like, people get after it. Then it's Friday. You stumble through a Friday, whatever. So anyway, all right. Let me just finish up on Shane Gillis. I pretty much just threw the whole ball of wax at you as far as he goes. But, like, this is the one that I know that a lot of people got on last night. And, again, we are not political on this show. I'm not being political. I learned years ago, like I said, I've been doing this 30 years. And you used to be able to kind of – you can go outside of sports all you want, but it's got to kind of be fun and casual and everything. You go politics and sports – people are changing the channel. This is the toy box of life, and people don't want to mix the two, and I totally get it. But, you know, the ESPYs are somewhat sports. So a lot of people were offended by this joke last night. Here you go.
Wants to stage a UFC fight on the White House lawn. The last time he staged a fight in D.C., Mike Pence almost died. All right. You don't have to do that. It was fine. I didn't write it. Actually, there was supposed to be an Epstein joke here, but as it got deleted. Must have probably deleted itself, right? Probably never existed, actually. Let's move on as a country and ignore that.
That's funny. I'm sorry. If you don't think it's funny, I totally get it, but it's funny. And probably a lot of the people in the crowd who are so self-absorbed are like, what's he talking about? I don't even know what he's talking about. I mean, I think a lot of things just went over people's heads, to be completely honest with you. I mean, he's not Dennis Miller in that regard. Like, Dennis Miller would say stuff, and you're like, what is, and he'd explain a joke, and he'd make some kind of a reference back to, pre-World War or something like that, and you're like, what is he even talking about? But anyway, yeah, people were offended by that joke. Here you go right here. Shane Gillis savage ESPY's monologue to give me Caitlin Clark, Aaron Rodgers, Trump, and everyone else. Whoever wrote that headline, are you new here? Like, do you know what a comedian does? A comedian does that on purpose. They take shots at everybody. So that what happens is like, how can you be offended? I'm an equal opportunity offender. I offended everyone. They do that on purpose. So that some group can't come at them and say, you just offended me. Well, no, I offended everyone. When you're on a stage like that, you've got to offend everyone or no one. Right? Now, there are certain comedians that are going to offend certain groups time and time again. I get that. Dave Chappelle. Like, I love Dave Chappelle. He's hilarious. But he'll take certain shots at certain groups, and people get pissed off about it, and whatever. I mean, I just laugh at it. I laugh at all of it, but that's okay. You don't have to. That's all. I don't have to talk anymore about it. I ranted we're 23 minutes into the show, and I probably spent 22 minutes on this. But I was watching last night going, God, we cannot laugh anymore. And laughter is so good. It is so good to laugh. Like, we all sit here. My wife and I do this. It's kind of like eating out nowadays. There's so much on TV, right? Between all the channels, there's so much on TV that you sit down, because we're probably watching about 4 or 5 shows right now, and a couple are more serious drama types, and a couple are comedies, and some are maybe a combination dramedies or whatever. And you sit down almost like when you sit down and you say, well, what do you want to eat tonight? Italian sounds good, or pizza sounds good, or taco sound good, or steak sounds good, or chicken sounds good, or whatever. And you're like, you have a hard time deciding where should we go eat, that kind of thing. That's what TV has become. Like, you sit down and you go, what am I in the mood for? Do I want it? Nah, I don't want anything too serious. Like, because life is so serious right now, a lot of times I opt for, let's just do a stupid non-thinking comedy. I don't even want to think. I just want an hour off, right? You want like an hour off of life. And so you're like, you know what, let's just watch a comedy night. And more I find myself just kind of, and they're not, they might be brain dead, brainless kind of stuff, but I find myself gravitating towards that more than I used to. Not like I could eat pizza 4 times a week. Like, maybe I'm not going to do it that much if you're staying with me here. But a lot of times it's like, man, everyone is so serious and pissed off and all that kind of stuff, and nobody can take a joke, that lets us watch a dumb comedy for an hour, and let's just sit back. Like, I'll give you a great example. Do you watch Shane Gillis on Tires? Like, Tires I can't remember what it's on. I don't know, whatever it's on. And I know it got renewed, but like Tires is funny to me. It's just kind of a dumb, I think it's a half hour. Thomas Hayden Church is on it. He's really funny. He's the dad. And like, I watch, like, Tires is funny. Like, it's funny to me. It's just a half hour. It's nothing that, I don't have to be like totally locked into it. I kind of sit there, I laugh a couple times, I move on with life. I find myself gravitating, not necessarily towards that show all the time, but just like some shows where I'm just like, I just want to laugh. That's what sports is supposed to be. That's what I mean. Sometimes what happens is and I try to get away from this. So I'll give you a great example. Let's look at the chalkboard today. Slowest sports day, Shane Gillis, SB suck. Giants post break, the trade. I have the trade that's going to work for the Giants. Alfred Collins signs the rookie from Texas. That's big. Top 10 corners, Barstool equals desperate. KILLA Klay. I don't really have a lot on the board today that has to do with the business side of sports. And sometimes, and people will hit me up with this, and I'm glad that they do. This is why I don't want to get too deep here, but this is why on the show I love feedback. Let me explain something to you. I don't think I know everything. I don't think I know anything. I say that all the time. And I love feedback, and I love different angles, and I love people going, Lund, I don't think you're seeing this, or, maybe this or that or the other. The reason why that's really, really great is because sometimes on the show as a media, this is why I go to the games all the time as a fan, because I don't ever want to lose that. 30 years in press boxes, what you start doing is you start losing what it's like to be a fan if you don't go to a game as a fan sometimes. I know that sounds weird, but you get involved too much in the business of sport. And you forget that people are here to get away from it all. So what I try to do as a show, and I'm sorry that we're almost doing like an episode where it's like, why did he go off the rails in this episode? Why did that band make a serious album when they just do, this or that? I want to have fun every single day. I don't want to laugh, and I want to take you away from your life and all those kind of things. And that's kind of why we do what we do, right? We're looking for outlets sometimes. There's different, you want to make your life even, but you're looking for outlets a lot of times. And what I like the feedback about it, why I like the feedback, is because sometimes people will say, like, man, we don't need to know about the contracts every day. We don't need to know who's holding out every day. We don't need to know about the TV deals every day. We don't need to know about contracts and who's making money and ownership and if the A's will move to Vegas, or, all the business side of sports, which, to be honest with you, when I was growing up, there just wasn't a whole lot of that. Sometimes you can have too much information. Sometimes not knowing is kind of better, right? It kind of is. What do they say? Ignorance is bliss. I mean, sometimes it's good, because when we were all growing, when you were growing up, a lot of times, at least in my generation, we didn't know who made what. It wasn't public knowledge. Behind the scenes, we didn't know about who was, doing, where the TV rights were going to be, cable, this and that, all the different things that are talked about nowadays. Are you going to move my team and all these different things? And so some people hit me up, more sports, less business of sport. And I get it, because what you're trying to accomplish is, I just want to have some fun, man. I just want to know about sports, and I want to talk about the Niners or the Giants or the Warriors. And I don't want to hear about Kuminga's contract. I just want to hear about, whatever. So anyway, all right, rant over on that. Good morning, good morning, good morning. James is here. Pine Needle is here. I think I just saw Dom jump into the room. Very good. By the way, if you missed my Shane Gillis, you'll have to go back and watch it. I am not easily offended. That is the cover of the show today. Comedy's officially dead because Shane Gillis. Oh my God, he offended so many people last night. All right, we're over that. All right, Shane Gillis, SB suck. The only reason I say SB suck, and I don't want to be a hater, like I said, I did the red carpet for the ESPYs one year. It wasn't it's never the athletes that ever get to me, because I've talked to a million athletes in my life. I just remember one situation, and this will age me and tell you how far long ago this was, but Tyra Banks was coming across the red carpet, and I was completely tongue-tied. And you know me, I'm never tongue-tied. And I was just like, I didn't know what to say. Because in person, you might see somebody or whatever, you see lots of pictures or video of beautiful people, and then you get on there and you're like, they're like, oh my God, why is the elephant man on the red carpet? But and you're just like, what do I even say? Like, I just remember, because I think maybe at the time she might have been dating Chris Webber, might have been something. And I didn't, that was the number one thing on my mind. I'm like, I cannot mention, I don't want to mention that. I'm not going to mention like her personal life. I didn't know what to ask her. I didn't know what to say. And so I just fumbled through something, and it was terrible, because it was like on nationally. And I was just like, oh, like on ESPN radio, I was like, oh, this is terrible. So anyway, not that they, again, like I said, the cancer part of it and the money that they raise and all those kind of things are very cool, but it's a vehicle to promote everything they do. the team of the year, the this of the year, the that of the year is complete political correctness in terms of who they choose, or what will get them the most ratings or buzz. And they've got to love it, even though they're owned by Disney. And a lot of people put that into the whole Shane Gillis thing, like, oh, I can't believe Disney okayed these jokes. And blah, blah, blah. Like, they're loving that. They're loving the fact that that's what we're talking about today. They're loving the fact that, and again, I'll give them all the marketing accolades that they deserve. It's the slowest sports day of the year. And so they're like, well, what do we do? I mean, back in the day, they're like, okay, well, what do we do here? We got to do something. It's the slowest sports day of the year. We'll get all these people to come out and make it a big deal. And anyway, no, I didn't watch him. I watched the monologue. That's all I watched last night. And then all the people who were fake offended by the monologue, which I thought was really interesting. All right, let's get past all that stuff. Moving on, and today sports returns, and tomorrow Major League Baseball returns, and all these kind of things. So Giants post break. Even though they're not a playoff team as we speak right now, the first half, it's not the first half. I hate when people say that because it's long past the first half. Post All-Star break, I'm not going to say I'm satisfied because, especially after you trade for Rafael Devers, I think that the expectation has to be kind of playoffs or bust. And when I say bust, I always love that when people say, I guarantee it. Or what? Like, I guarantee it. I guarantee a win. I guarantee you this. I guarantee you that. Or what? Like, what are you going to do? So there is no really bust. It's not like they're going to fire Bob Melvin, I don't think, or anything like that. Maybe Pat Burrell, as we've talked about a million times. They need a different voice in the ear of the hitters, and they've needed it all season long. And it's shocking to me that they haven't done it. But I know Buster loves himself some Pat Burrell. He helped him win the 2010 World Series, and I think there's some personal thing in there. And as Buster kind of gets more and more into this job, I think it's going to become less about personal and more about business. And so we'll see on Pat Burrell. It's not his fault. I get it, but you need a different voice. They've needed a different voice for a number of weeks, if not months. But it is what it is, and I don't think he's going to get fired unless things get really, really ugly. But I think that there is some pressure from the front office to say they have got to make the playoffs. So whatever or bust means, they've got to make the playoffs. I think that's the thing. Now, in that regard, I'm thinking about what they need. All right. And so most people are like, bat. And I'm like, wait a minute. I thought about this morning. They traded for Rafael Devers. He's going to be fine. He's not off to a great start. Everyone in Boston is like, ha, look at your record since you got him. Look at our record. I get it. Boston's not going to be a trader at the deadline. And I'd mentioned like 𝐼𝐸𝐴Ldis Chapman because they needed, left-hander out of the pen or whatever. But I've decided, and I know this is going to be an unpopular opinion, but I've decided, look, you traded for Rafael Devers. Willie Adames is coming around. Chapman's now healthy. I think they got to live with what they got to live with as far as their offense, at least this year, because I think it's more important because how does this team win? This team wins with pitching, defense, timely hitting. They always have, they always will in this park. They've got enough hitting to be the timely hitting part of this whole thing. In fact, this is the best lineup they've had in a long time now that you add Devers and you add Willie Adames. They've added those two bats this season. Willie Adames in the offseason, Rafael Devers. What else do you want Buster Posey to do? Another one? Another bat? Like right now, to me, if you're going to prioritize what they need two things. They need a left-handed reliever to replace Eric Miller, and they need a solid number 3 starter. If you want me to say that 4 and 5 in everybody's rotation for the most part fluctuates. I don't know. Maybe they'll be good. Verlander, maybe. Roop is at least statistically good enough. We'll see about the guy that I've pounded the table for, Birdsong, the whole time. But if those 3 have 2 spots, and I mean 4 and 5, if those 3 guys I just mentioned are fighting for the final 2 spots in the rotation for the Giants, they're fine. But they need a 3. And so I was thinking to myself this morning, who is absolutely out of it? Who can they get right now or right around the trade deadline? What would be that team? And so I started looking, and I thought to myself, this is the team to target. All right, this is the Marlins. And as far as pitching is concerned, everybody is looking at a guy like Alcantara or something like that, and they think that he's going to be the guy. The guy that they really need, he's 27 years old, and he's under control, Edward Cabrera. If you look at his numbers right there, 82 innings pitched, 74 hits, 9.4 strikeouts per 9. Very, very nice. 3.61 ERA. He's very solid. He's a guy that you're going to have this year, next year, and the Marlins aren't going to rake your farm system for that. I don't think you're not going to have to give up Carson Whisenhunt for Edward Cabrera. That's a guy that right there, He'd be a great number 3 starter. And then on top of that, look at these relievers at the top here. Now, none of these guys are lefties, but these guys, the ERAs, not here. But a guy, 40 games, 2.06 ERA, 42 games, 2.60 ERA. That, by the way, that's a great name, 𝐬𝐮𝐬𝐜𝐫𝐢. They've got a number of relief pitchers. And look, they're not lefties, I understand that. But they've got, for a bad team, and the Marlins are, and we've seen them, they've got the one thing they do have is a pretty solid bullpen. So get me Cabrera, get me one of these relief arms, and let's go. If you could do something like that, if Buster could do something like that, and I know you can disagree with me all you want, and I totally get it. If you're saying to me, dude, they need another stick, I get it. But stay with me for a second. They're going to play Devers at first base. They've got either Schmidt or Fitzgerald at second base. They may have to live with it. Now, again, I've pounded the table and thought because the Manassian brothers, the Angels, the Giants, I could see a deal right there because the Angels have a guy that, look, used to be 𝐬𝐮𝐬𝐫𝐞𝐭, who used to be a big-time prospect. I think you could probably get him for nothing. So maybe. But shortstop set, third base is set. They're not doing anything at catcher. Left field, we know. 𝐮𝐬𝐫𝐢 Lee makes too much money, and you could bitch about Mike Yastrzemski. I get it. But to me, the most important thing, if you look at the Giants and say, how have they always won? Pitching, hitting, pitching, timely hitting. Pitching, timely hitting. That's going to be this ballpark. They went out and got Rafael Devers at the deadline, or a while ago. They got Willy Adames in the offseason. He's starting to hit like Willy Adames. Look, if I'm Buster Posey, I'm going, look, that's enough. Like, that's got to be enough for the timely hitting part. We're not going to be the Cubs. We're not going to be the Dodgers, those teams that are just raking. We're not going to be the Yankees. We're not going to be those lineups. We're not. We're never going to be. I got to emphasize my pitching because when they were winning, their hitting wasn't still great. But when they were actually really winning, what were they doing? Their starting pitching was very good. Not great, but very good. And their bullpen was the best in baseball, and by a lot. That's how they win. That's how they've always won in this ballpark. So, look, they're not going to smash their way to the playoffs. Smash. They're not going to smash their way to the playoffs. They're going to pitch their way to the playoffs and get timely hitting. And they've got enough on this roster for the timely hitting part. And even the guys who don't hit, maybe outside of 𝐮𝐬𝐫𝐢 Lee, Patrick Bailey is not hitting, but he can, in the clutch, has done okay. And Mike Yastrzemski, in the clutch throughout his Giants career, even though he hasn't been a consistent hitter, has been okay. It's the rest of these guys where you go, look, you got to get Devers at first. Adames has got to hit. Chapman's got to hit. Ramos has got to hit. Like, those guys, that's enough for the timely hitting part. Could they use one if one popped up? Sure. But if I'm Buster Posey, because you can't get everything, I'm on the phone trying to get a solid, really solid number 3. And along with that team that I'm calling, hey, you got any relievers? You got one more arm that I could use in that bullpen? That's what I need. If I can accomplish those things, then I think the Giants can be a playoff team. Give me your thoughts on that. Love to hear you in the chat room. So that's what I think as far as the Giants are concerned. They're right in there. It's going to come down to, I really think, as crazy as this sounds, I think 5 of the 6 spots are probably set. The Central is going to be Cubs or Brewers, and the other one's going to get the wild card. The East is going to be Mets or Phillies. The other one's going to get the wild card. The West is going to be the Dodgers. And then it leaves one spot remaining. There's one spot remaining, and that's going to be between the Padres, Giants, and Cardinals. I don't think anybody else is going to be there. So between those 3 teams, that's going to be your deal. And Buster Posey's not going anywhere, and he's not getting fired. There's nothing like that kind of stuff. But the powers that be are going to go to him in the offseason if they don't make the playoffs, and they're going to go, dude, we gave you the money to go get Willy Adames. We gave you the money to go get Rafael Devers. I think they're going to make another move at the deadline. He's like, well, if they don't make the playoffs, they're going to sit back and say, look, we invested in you. We believed in you. We're not doing that again. I mean, I think that's what's at stake here is that if he doesn't, and it's not his fault, because he runs baseball operations, so he is ultimately responsible for things, and he's already told you that, but you know that. But if he doesn't, they don't get into the playoffs, then I don't know that the powers that be that open up the old dusty wallet for the Giants, and you can't really say that anymore about them, but they're just going to go, we're closing the wallet. We gave you these guys. You didn't make the playoffs. What do you want us to do? Like, we're not going on another spending spree. We got you Devers. We got you Adames. Hell, it wouldn't surprise me in the offseason if they didn't make the playoffs, if they said, you got to move Devers. Like, it wouldn't even shock me at all. Because they're sitting there going, we gave you everything we gave you. You wanted Willy Adames? We gave him to you. You wanted Rafael Devers, we gave him to you. Like, what are we doing here? So that's what I'm afraid of, is if they make the playoffs, I think they'll be satisfied. I think all the fans will be satisfied. I would like them to do more than just make the playoffs, but okay, the National League right now is really tough. The Phillies are good. The Dodgers are good. The Brewers are good. The Cubs have a ridiculous offense. I mean, the National League's pretty tough, but they've got to get in. And so they're going to be fighting with the Padres and the Cardinals. Cardinals generally aren't an overly aggressive team at the deadline. They just kind of do what they do. They draft, they develop, they do an amazing job that way. So I don't know that they're going to go out and make a big splash. That's not normally them. The Padres have done so much of that. Will they continue to, even though they're a medium to small market team? They're a medium market team. Will the Padres go out and make some sort of a splash? Probably not. I mean, they have enough sticks in their lineup. They should have enough sticks in their lineup. What direction would they go? They could always use another starter, so we'll see, something like that. But so we'll see. I think the Giants, amongst the teams in the National League wild card race, would probably make the bigger splash. A team like Milwaukee will probably make a small splash. And then you start looking at the teams. The one team, and this is this is a bummer because Arizona's not going to trade with the Giants unless it's massively lopsided in their favor, is that Arizona has at least two starters in Gallen and Woogie, Merrill Kelly. That would be great on the Giants, but I don't think they'll trade for him. If Devers never got healthy enough to play first base, Josh Naylor's having a ridiculous year. First baseman for the Diamondbacks, they could use him. Suarez, their other piece, everybody has him ticketed to the Yankees. He's not, you don't need a third baseman here. So Suarez, their other piece, isn't going to come. But they've got, I just mentioned 4 pieces, and they actually have a couple of pieces in the bullpen too that you could probably pry loose from them if you gave them the right things in return. So Arizona probably right now has the hottest 3 or 4 players between Suarez, right? Ketel Marte is not going anywhere, but they've got 2 starters, and Gallen's having a terrible year, but he could bounce back easily. But they've got 2 starters, their third baseman, who's having a tremendous year, and Josh Naylor, their first baseman, who's a free agent at the end of the year too. They've got probably, I'm not going to say the top 4 players, but they're out of it if they want to be realistic with themselves. And yet, if I think Buster Posey called down to Arizona and said, "Hey, man," it would be like, "Hello, click, hello, you there? Like, we're not trading to you, dude. We're not trading you to these guys." Unless, like I said, if it's really lopsided, like Zach Gallen would be great. I just think certain guys, it's their walk year, and I think certain guys get, I don't know what it is, but a change of scenery. Zach Gallen's been so good for so long. He'd be amazing, and he wouldn't be a 3. Him and Logan Webb and Robbie Ray for the 3 for the Giants. You wouldn't want to play them in a series. But I don't think Arizona would trade with the Giants. It would have to be so in their favor, and they're just not going to do that. So anyway, that's what I think about the Giants. I would love Cabrera and then one of the other arms on the Marlins, and they are clearly out of it. So it's not like you call them and they go, he might be in it. I don't know. He might call us back in a week. Like, just let's do it now. Let's go. Rooker. The Rooker reminded me of silly. He's another DH. Why would they trade for another? Because Sloss allows him. Yeah, I don't see Rooker coming here. I mean, I like Rooker. He'd be nice. I guess you would go, Rooker in left, because he can't play right. Rooker in left, move Ramos to right. I mean, I really like him, and I've heard his name, but I don't see that. I really don't see that. And it's not because, they moved up to Sacramento. It's just down the street. Same kind of a thing with Rooker and the A's. Let's just take that for just a second because you mentioned it. Any trade with the A's, and the A's have a couple of second basemen that I think the Giants would be interested in. Geloff has fell off the table as far as the A's are concerned. They've got like 3 second basemen on their team, so that would make sense. Andujar just came back from injury. That might make some sense. He can hit. Rooker makes some sense. He can hit. So I don't think it's much a matter of would the A's trade with the Giants. They would. They've got the philosophy of Billy Beane, which is I'm just trying to make my team better. I mean, Billy said that a million times. Like, the Giants and the A's didn't trade for a long, long time, and I get it. But Billy Beane was always like, just, make me a great offer and maybe we'll trade. The A's and the Giants are at polar opposites. That young lineup that the A's have, that's a good lineup with guys like Jacob Wilson and Kurtz, and I mean, they've got some players who can hit. They just have no pitching whatsoever. Mason Miller can pitch. JP Sears isn't too bad. Maybe there's a couple other guys in there, but I mean, it's like they're atrocious. And it's not like the Giants have a bunch of pitching depth now that they traded for Devers. It's not like they can be like, here, and whatever. Again, we bring up the same names over and over, 𝐬𝐻𝐿 or any of these different guys. Anybody who's come up as far as the Giants from AAA this year, pitching-wise, terrible. So, yeah, give up some pitching, I guess, because the A's have none. And the A's are always playing for the future, so it's not like you'd have to give them somebody who's almost ready. They want to be ready by Vegas. So you could give them some A-ball arms or whatever the case may be, and yeah, maybe. And so they're not going to not trade with the Giants because we're in Sacramento and we're not going to, we don't want to watch these guys be really, really good. I like you, I just don't see the fit. I don't see Rooker. I mean, Rooker could go to left and Ramos could go to right. But like you said, he's kind of a DH type. I'm not going to say he has an iron glove, but he's not great. And they've already got DH covered like 5 different times. So yeah, I would agree with that. All right. Anything else on baseball before I move on to the 49ers and some really good news from yesterday? Let's see. Yeah, I mean, that might be iffy. Ramos is an adventure. I mean, they played him in center. Oh, boy. Left field, sometimes he gets horrible jumps. So, I mean, I think he could do it. I think he's athletic enough to do it. But, man. Again, I don't believe this is lying season, and lying season in sports is 24/7, 365. But as we near the deadline, of course, you're going to say, yeah, we're okay. And then you're going to do something. I mean, nobody saw the Devers thing coming. So they're working. They got to work. Like I said, unless they've told them, look, the wallet is closed, they are not good enough as currently constructed. They need a number 3 or a bullpen arm, to me, if not a bat. I think they'll do something. It's not going to be anything big, I don't think, but I think they'll do something. So we will get into some Niners right now. Carlos says CMC was voted 73 out of 100. Blah, 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 blah. No, I think he's going to have a great year. I love this stuff. I told you this the other day. I love being underrated. Tell me Brock Purdy sucks. Tell me CMC 73. Tell me Demo's not a top 10 corner. Tell me the 49ers are going to go 6-11 again. I love it. I love it. Because what happens is human nature is like, they come walking in and they got Kyle Shanahan and Brock and they're wearing their 49ers gold helmets and, but everybody, if they tell you they suck, they're not up as much for everybody. Please make me be underrated. Like everybody saying how great you are. I've said this a million times. The only time polls matter, college football, college basketball. That's when people's opinion matters of you. Other than that, they play it out on the field. So no one cares. I don't care about anybody's list. I have to say this almost every show. I don't care about a list. I don't care about a Mount Rushmore. I don't care. I'm not offended by your list. That's your list. Who cares? And most people who put out lists are doing it for reaction. So they leave out a player. They put a player lower. Of course they do. Because they're like, oh my God, I'm outraged. Did you see this list? McCaffrey 73. I'm outraged. That's what they want. That's the game in media nowadays. Say something outrageous. Make a list that, doesn't have Patrick Mahomes on it or, whatever. Oh, I saw that list. Because if you actually put some thought into your list and make a list that probably most people look at and go, not bad. That's not going to get any clicks. Nobody's going to read that. Nobody's going to watch that. Nobody's going to be outraged. You got to make a list that's outrageous. I love be underrated, man. Call me underrated. Tell me I suck. That's the way you want to go into a season. Let's see. 49ers offseason and the Collins signs. Let's get to that whole thing. So I told you this yesterday, and you already know this, but only a couple of second-round picks had signed. And it was because the kid out of Iowa State, Jaden Higgins, really nice player, but the Jets decided to give him a fully guaranteed contract. And so every other agent went, well, that's the going rate. Every second rounder gets a guaranteed contract. And everyone went, no. Teams are like, no. We're not doing that, man. We're not doing that. So then the 49ers, Alfred Collins gets a $9 million guarantee. So $10.3 million deal, $9 million guaranteed. And so I saw where people were saying like, oh, he gave something back. He didn't give anything back. I mean, that's basically guaranteed. 9 out of 10.3. And if you're not just a total piece of trash, you'll obviously make the 10.3. So all but 2 players in the second round this year because of that whole thing. So there you go. Before Collins, 2 second-round picks, Schwessinger and Higgins. Oh, Jaden Higgins, not of the Jets, of the Texans. Sorry. Jaden Higgins was the one that started all that kind of stuff. So they were 33 and 34, and basically what people are saying is, you got to guarantee the total contract. Well, at least they got Alfred Collins in. Why is Alfred Collins important? You might be asking yourself. So what? Second round pick, right? So you're thinking to yourself, why is he important? Let me show you something. And I've shown you this before, but I'm going to do it again. This is why he's important. Sorry, they changed some things around here on this on the screen here, and it really bothers me because now I have to go looking for stuff. Here we go. Where is the? We got Collins already. Here we go. Why is Collins important? Look at that lineup. Look at the defense. Don't worry about the offense for a second. Williams, like I told you, I like 𝐽𝐬𝐫𝐢 Williams, but he's going to take a minute. Had the fewest amount of snaps coming out of the draft as an edge rusher. He's going to take a minute. 20 years old. Jordan Elliott sucked ass last year. 47.6. I could take a test with my eyes closed and get a 47.6. That's not good. Collins in there. And like I said, these two guys inside are big-time run stuffers and pocket pushers. The 49ers philosophically now, it's not that they're not looking for guys who can penetrate inside, but what they really want is they want Collins and Elliott to crush that pocket or to stop the run, and Williams, Huff mainly too, and Bosa to absolutely crush the quarterback on a wide nine. What they're going to do on passing downs is, if Williams is up to the task, move him to the inside, bring Huff out here, and you've got a NASCAR package, and Collins and Elliott are out of the game at that point, and you got a NASCAR package up front trying to get after the quarterback. So Williams moves inside, Huff goes right here. Bosa on the outside, they'll move in another defensive tackle who's more quickness and speed. And these two guys on first and second down will stuff the run and push the pocket so that then that quarterback has to move outside of the pocket, and Bosa, Williams, or Huff will get him. Well, Elliott sucked last year, and Collins is a huge man. And I hope he can keep his pads down. He's like 6'6", 330 pounds. Massive. And as you look at the defense, as I've said a million times, Winters we know nothing about. Martin's a rookie. Brown's injured. Pinnock against the pass. That 54.5 is mostly against the pass. Horrible. Hopefully Green can take a step up in his second year. And for as much talking as Demo Lenore does, and I know that PFF is not perfect, 66.5 is not acceptable. It's not good. At least according to Pro Football Focus, he didn't have a good year. Now, do I like Demo Lenore? Of course I do. But he's going to have to stay on the outside. I'd love it if he was more of a nickel corner, but because they took Upton Stout, who's all of about 5'8", and if Stout can play inside effectively, then Lenore's your outside corner, and you're counting on another rookie. So there's a lot of young players on that defense that are going to have to step up. Williams a rookie, Collins a rookie, Stout I just mentioned, Martin a rookie, second-year guy Green, third-year guy Brown. There's a lot of young players. So the reason it's important that Collins comes in is he is a massive part of that defensive line, a massive part. And so then if he starts late, it's like, oh, great. Because rookies are dartboard throws anyway. And so now Collins is going to be late to camp. That would have been terrible. Honestly, they need him. And CJ West is another guy to Indiana that I really, really like. But you can tell philosophically what they're doing. Elliott, West, Collins, dudes that are tough to move, that are going to push the pocket, tough to move, stop the run. And those guys are going to be wide as hell, and they're going to come after that quarterback who has to either move up or move out of the pocket. And that's what they're going to do. That's the philosophy now for the 49ers. Stop the run with big dudes who are just going to push the pocket. You know, those guys combined, those three guys in Elliott, West, and Collins, maybe this year they'll combine for, 4 or 5 sacks combined. But that's not what they're there for. Keep the linebacker, keep everybody off Fred Warner and these quick linebackers. Nick Martin's maybe 220 pounds. He is not big. He is not heavy, I should say. But he's fast. Fred Warner, bigger, but still fast. Gets to the ball. These big guys, keep him off him. Alfred Collins is critical to any kind of success that the 49ers are going to have defensively this year. And so for him to get in is massive. Huge, I think. So there's that. All right. Good questions here. Let me hit some Niners stuff since we're getting really, really close. Yeah, it's a big deal. It really is a big deal. Is Pearsall ever going to be healthy? That is a great question. I was on with Damon yesterday, Damon Bruce, and he had a great question. We talked about second-year players. Pearsall, Mustafa when he comes back, Dominic Pooney taking another step forward. There's a lot of guys, that have to step up this year. Renardo Green is a huge second-year player for the 49ers. Like, we can talk about rookies all you want. Rookies are a dartboard throw. Like, you get a Dominic Pooney, but then you get a Ricky Pearsall, right? You just don't know. And it doesn't mean that Pearsall can't play. It's just a lot of times it's a major transition. You are now a professional. You're not going to class. And it's, you're part of the football team or whatever. This is your life. This is your living. And it takes a minute to get there. You remember getting out of college. What am I going to do? And now I got to get a real job. And it just takes a minute. And for some guys, look, they're mature and they can handle it. And it's like, boom, boom, boom. No big deal. Other guys, sorry, my door is open because my dog's coming in and out. My wife's still gone. And if I don't leave the door open in the studio, then he sits there and scratches the whole time and looks at me. And then the minute I let him in, he wants out. So I can't shut the door. And then he's looking at me like scratching to get out. I'm like, dude, make up your mind. Anyway, there's the Niner side of things. As far as the top 10 list, we keep talking about the top 10 list. Let me throw that on the screen for you because, we've done quarterbacks and linebackers and all these different things. And George Kittle was number 2 to Brock Bowers and all this kind of stuff. So everybody loves lists, right? Everybody loves lists. And so now the latest is the corners. Let me get to the corners here. Where are the corners at? Collins, I already got that. I got too many windows open. I tell you that every single day. There we go. Here's the corners. So this is another thing. I love this. You may get pissed off at this. I love this. So Patrick Surtain, there's not a lot of debate there. He's now the 5th highest paid corner after last year signing his new deal. So if he was in Jauan Jennings' camp, he would want a new deal. Derek Stingley, very nice. Denzel Ward, that might be a little high. Trent McDuffie, I think, is better, but maybe that's just flashbacks from the Super Bowl. I think he should be higher. But whatever. I'm not going to get pissed over it. Sauce Gardner just signed the biggest corner contract in history, over $30 million. He's good. Christian Gonzalez, he's had some injury issues, but he's nice. Player at Oregon. J.C. Horn, I think underrated. Jalen Johnson was a guy that's from Fresno, and at one point before he signed his contract in Chicago, people are like, could he be a Niner? Could he be a Niner? That would have been nice. Quinyon Mitchell, only going into his second year for the Eagles. That was a home run hit for them. Devin Weatherspoon of the Seahawks. I think he's probably higher than that, but they put him in slot pretty much right away, and he's a nice player. And then honorable mention, Jalen Ramsey. I think he's even overrated at honorable mention. He's a big chance taker, and he can make some mistakes. Humphrey's nice. Diggs, speaking of chance takers, Byron Murphy, underrated. A.J. Terrell's nice. L'Jarius Sneed, we remember him in the Super Bowl opposite McDuffie. What a major pain in the ass. And then also receiving votes, Cooper DeJean. I really don't have a problem with that. Deron Bland had that 1 year. We had a bunch of touchdowns. Our good friend, Travarius Ward, now in Indy. Diamador Lenore, Niners. DJ Reed, former Niner. Who else do we have in there? That's worth a mention. Joey Porter Jr. is nice. Long arms. Good player. Reek Woolen of the Seahawks, who had a great rookie year and then kind of Jair Alexander can't stay healthy. Nate Wiggins. So as far as you're concerned, there's Diamador Lenore in also receiving votes. I really don't have an issue with that. The thing I'll say about him is like I said, I'm nervous that he's going to be an outside-only guy. I think he's elite in the slot. I think he's like Devin Weatherspoon a little bit in the slot. There's Witherspoon 10th. Demo's aggressive. He comes up. He's like K'Waun Williams used to be, but like 5 times better. And he can play inside, he can play outside, but he's going to be forced to play outside now. They took Upton Stout in the 3rd round. You take somebody in the 3rd round, they should be starting. Maybe not their rookie year, but certainly by their second year. Demo's a long-term guy. So Demo's going to be on the outside. Ronaldo Green's going to be on the outside. And probably Upton Stout is going to be at 5'8", and he's real feisty. So, again, I'll bring up a K'Waun Williams comp, and hopefully he can blitz out of the slot and do all those kind of things. Obviously, teams in this division, I don't think there's any doubt that Seattle's going to put Cooper Kupp in there with his size. I think that Arizona, they can put different type of receivers in the slot. I think they'll use size. So we'll see if Upton Stout can play. But in the point of Diamador Lenore, I would have loved, and look, the draft doesn't always go your way. I would have loved if they could get an outside corner, a bigger outside corner, and then move Demo in the slot. Kind of use him like Seattle does Devin Weatherspoon. I think that would have been awesome, but he's going to play on the outside where I don't think he's quite as good. He's really good. I just don't think he's quite as good. So hopefully Upton Stout's really, really, really good because they took a 5'8" corner in the 3rd round. So we'll see. So that's the Niners side of things. Top 10 corners, offseason, Collins signs. That's a big deal, all of those things. Give me your thoughts. Like I said, and I talked to Damon about this. He's going to be going down there too. I'm sure Krug will be down there. We'll all be down there for 49ers training camp when that gets going. So make sure that you tune into the show. I'll have videos and interviews and all sorts of stuff, opinion, blah, blah, blah. And that starts up next week. So make sure you're on it with the show. We'll probably be going down there early, and I'm going to find a setup spot to do the show, probably from like a picnic table at, Levi Stadium or something. They have like tables out there, and I'll just be like, taking my gear and then going to practices. So that's probably what I'll do. All right. Anything else on the Niners or baseball before I move on to a couple of other things? Lots of talking amongst ourselves. I like that on the chat line. Very, very cool. All right. Let's move on to this. So the whole Fox thing, everybody knows the story about Fox. They turfed a bunch of shows that sucked. I didn't watch any of those shows, but clearly nobody else did either. I'm not a Craig Carton fan. I don't think he has national appeal. He's a New York only guy. I like Mark Schlereth, Danny Parkins, whatever. He's nothing. Joy Taylor, vastly overrated. She got her start on Cowherd's show and then tried to do her own stuff. I never thought she was any good. I never valued any of her opinions. I didn't think she was good. The other show that had a bunch of athletes on it, I don't have an opinion on because I never watched it. So none of the shows on Fox did anything for me. As bad as the shows are on ESPN during the day, Fox's seem to be a poor man's version of that. So that can tell you everything you need to know. Now what they're doing is that apparently there are stories out there that Barstool is going to take over some of those slots or one of those slots. And in addition to that, their answer to Pat McAfee on College Game Day, which they're just never going to beat College Game Day. Like ESPN, it was never going to touch Inside the NBA. College Game Day, now, even if Lee Corso's leaving, which he is, Kirk Herbstreit, Reese Davis, Nick Saban, like, it's a great show. They're not going to touch it. The big noon kickoff, whatever Fox does, I don't even know what it, Matt Leinart, I think, is on that show. Maybe Reggie Bush is. Urban Meyer's completely unlikable. He's nothing. I'm not going to tune into that show. Whoever, I don't even know who's the main host of it, whatever. But apparently they're going to, and I have a story up here, maybe I can find it, maybe I can't, where they're going to put Dave Portnoy of Barstool Sports on their noon kickoff, and they're going to partner with Barstool Sports. Here we go. And they're going to partner with Barstool Sports for some of their programming during the day. So it's going to be all bro all the time kind of a deal. And here's the thing. Having done this for a long time, here's what's going to happen. Fox is going to try this. This is a desperate attempt. This is a Hail Mary. This is the last ditch attempt. Okay, who has a built-in audience? Who can we try? And like I said, I'm always a big fan, or not a big fan. That's not the right way to put it. I always have respect for, even though I don't watch or like the shtick of Screamin' A or of Kendrick Perkins or of Dave Portnoy, of a lot of different personalities. I respect the fact that they have built the following, right? I respect the fact that they've built the following, but it like I talked about before, maybe Shane Gillis isn't for you. Maybe you don't like ketchup on a hot dog, whatever. You do you. I'm not trying to talk you out of anything. If you like that, that's cool, man. We're still friends, and I don't form an opinion of you based on what you eat, what you like, what you consume, what do you think is funny, who your favorite team is. You do you. That's fine. I just know how this is going to end because I've seen it many, many times. When you go for these desperate plays, especially with people who, in Portnoy's case, in Barstool's case, they can do whatever they want because they're the ones who have developed, like they're not getting canceled. I mean, they've done so many things that have offended so many different people, speaking of offended, that they're not going to offend anybody anymore. They've done it. It's almost like when Howard Stern got to a certain level, and then he's leveled off big time over years, but still people still refer to him as the shock jock Howard Stern. He's not a shock jock. He's not shocking anybody. It's like David Portnoy. He's not shocking anybody, but he's got this reputation. So how this always ends is you're a corporate entity with certain rules, and they're not going to follow those rules. They don't have to follow those rules because even if they get fired by you, like most of us sit there in our daily jobs and are like, man, I don't want to get fired. So I got to, kind of walk the straight and narrow to a certain extent. Well, even if they got fired, even if he got fired, he wouldn't care. He's got a big company behind that. So it's like most people, like, we're kind of day to day without a net. They're like, they got a massive net. Like, they got people walking around going, "Nah, you won't fall." They got the trampoline right there. Like, you're fine. So if the Fox Sports thing doesn't work out for him, it's no big deal. It's like if somebody's got a bunch of money and they're trying to start a corporation and it doesn't work. Oh, well, I got this to fall back on. They don't need Fox Sports. And therefore, they're going to be on this dangerous curve, and those executives are wearing the suits, and a bunch of those guys just got fired. And so what's going to happen is they're going to bring in conservative types. What happens in sports when you have a certain kind of a coach and he gets fired? You bring in, a lot of times, the polar opposite of what that coach was, right? What do you want to do that again? Let's bring in somebody else. Well, it's the same thing with sports executives. Well, we just had this guy running a loose ship and all this kind of stuff. It was crazy. There was, all these charges against it and all these kind of things, and people were saying this, that, and the other. Okay, who are we bringing in? We're going to bring in somebody to tighten up the ship. We're going to bring in somebody to tighten up the ship on the executive side, and then we're going to bring in these guys who really don't need us, and they're just going to go wild and say stupid shit because they're kind of the originators of the stupid shit daytime show, blah, 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 blah. And they might get some ratings. They really might. They might get some ratings right out of the gate, but the long term of this whole thing is it's going to go because that's just what it does. I mean, I've told you since day one that the Pat McAfee thing is not long for ESPN. Like I said, I worked for him for years. And it was just at the beginning when they could, like, for a lot of my career, the early part of my career, whoever owned the company couldn't hear what we were doing or see what we were doing. There was streaming to a certain extent, but it wasn't the greatest. So they weren't sitting around watching us. They couldn't just click on something and listen. They couldn't just click on something and watch like you can now. Everybody's on YouTube. Everybody, like all the radio stations, all the TV, all you got to do is click on something. You can watch it or listen to whatever you want. Well, it didn't used to be that way. So we could do stuff, and it was like ESPN. I worked for ESPN-owned stations in Pittsburgh and Dallas. ESPN couldn't see what we were doing, hear what we were doing, watch what we were doing. Now they can. So that's what's going to happen is they're going to get pissed, and there's going to be this big battle. And it's just, I told you this from the beginning. It just wasn't going to last very long. It's owned by Disney, and at some point, some corporate executive with a stick up his ass is just going to go, we can't do this anymore. Like, again, risk versus reward, right? Talent versus tolerance. If you're really talented, they'll tolerate a lot. And a lot of these guys, they're really talented, or they're bringing in the numbers or whatever the case may be. But after a little while, it's like, okay. So it's a desperate move by Fox because it's not going to last very long. They might get some ratings right out of the gate, but then it's going to blow up. That's just what's going to happen. So good luck. The 𝐾𝐿A thing is incredible. Klay, everybody loves Klay. And if you've never met Klay, I've said this before. I used to do some events with Klay when he was with the Warriors. And what you see with Klay, and I'm not breaking any news here, what you see with Klay is what you get. He's one of the best guys around. He's absolutely amazing. He is incredible with people. He doesn't care really what you think, and it's not in a negative sense. It's kind of like that when Kevin Durant came aboard and people are like, well, how's your game going to change? And Klay's like, it isn't. Like, I just catch and shoot. Like, doesn't matter to me. Like, he's just real laid back. I'm trying to think which NFC championship game it was. Might have been, it was probably 2 years ago when the Niners were playing in the NFC championship game. And Klay, I was walking around, and Klay was out on the field, and Barry Bonds was out on the field, and Barry had like 9,000 people around him, so anybody couldn't get near him. And Klay Thompson had nobody, he just had a couple of buddies. And then he's walking around and then he walks through the tunnel, and he's got the VIP pass, and him and a couple of friends are just hanging out, having a beer underneath the stadium. And I was walking from the pregame show and going up to the elevator, and VIPs were down there and stuff like that. Every single person that walked up to Klay Thompson, and he didn't have to be this way, take a picture, sign an autograph. Like, the guy's so cool. No problem. And I just walked up to him and went, dude, I don't know if you remember, we used to do, oh, yeah. I mean, just, dude, I just really appreciate the way that you treat people. Because I did. I stood there for like 5 minutes, and no less than probably 50 people went up to him, autograph, picture, totally cool, laid back, like while he's having a beer, like whatever, man. Totally approachable guy. What you see is what you get. He's an awesome dude. So, but, usually, like I was saying this at the beginning of the show, like shaggy hair, shaggy beard, whatever, real casual dress. Look at this. Oh, he's looking good. Megan Thee Stallion, Klay Thompson make red carpet debut. Quote, he's the nicest person I've ever met. That's what she said. We met, and it was such a meet cute. Okay. Whatever. I don't need to know the details. I just know that, like, I was looking at some of the pictures. What's this doing? I was looking at some of the more pictures on this whole thing. Yeah. Where is, like, look how good he looks. I mean, that dude is cleaned up. The beard is tight. You don't think women have an effect on a dude? Like, look how tight the beard is. Look how tight the cut is. I mean, it's tight. And then she's giving him that look, and he's got that confident kind of, But yeah, he looks good there, man. He's tight. Got the tuxedo, cleans up nice. But she probably was like, look, no shaggy beard. Let's get the cut tight. Let's get the beard tight. Let's get the mustache tight. Like, he looks good. Looks like he's got a little bit of a tan. Maybe they were on vacation or something. Is there more pictures? Yeah, look at that. That's a good look, man. He looks good. Is that it? Is that all the pictures? There you go. There's another one. Yeah, let's see. I didn't play this. Look at that. Look at the top. Look at the back. That's tight. It's a tight look. Good look. All right, there you go. It's a good look. It's a good look for Klay, man. Good for him. That's cool. I never pegged Klay for like the dating the celebrity type. He's so like, I want to be out of the spotlight kind of a thing. I mean, you could tell even at the end there when he was doing that, he's kind of like, get me out of here, man. That's not really his bag. But I'm sure he'll handle it. No, look, Klay's a good dude, man. Klay is he's just one of the best dudes ever. There are so many guys who win the genetic lottery and act like, my shit doesn't stink and all that kind of stuff. He was brought up right. I know Michael really well. Years and years ago, did show with Michael Thompson in Portland. Michael's a great dude. I mean, there is when you grow up around that stuff and it's not like, they realize difficulty and Michael keeps him grounded. You can just tell. All right. Anything else today? Did I miss anything today? Slow Sports Day, Shane Gillis, SB suck, Giants post break, the trade. I'm telling you, the Marlins are the team. Collins, that's a huge signing. 49ers offseason. Top 10 corners do not involve Demo. Barstool, that means FS1 and Fox is desperate. KILLA Klay. We just played random things throughout the show. And we'll do a Caboose pistol in just a second. Anything else I got to hit up today? Anything? As we check the chat room one last time for anything. Oh, we got to, by the way, I should have said this earlier. Anytime you want to hit up and support the show with a super, which is a donation to the show and 100% gets your thought on the air. Thank you to our good friend Nathan. It is always great to have you in the house, hitting us with a super sticker. You can do supers and stickers and all those kind of things. So thank you, Nathan. Really appreciate you donating to the show today. Much, much, much appreciated. Thank you, Nathan, my friend. We really appreciate it. Let's see. What else do we have? Oh, taking your daughter swimming. Yeah, that's a great day for you. Good for you, man. Very cool, man. Let's see. Anything else today? All right, let's do it. Let's do a sweet, clean, family-friendly Caboose pistol. I got one story for you, and I got to ask a question. How do you move this stuff?
John Lund Unleashed presents the Caboose pistol.
Wedged in the crack of her buttocks.
Somehow, someway, Lundo thinks this is the best way to leave a final impression on you for the day.
The old Caboose pistol, everybody has one.
Did you say Caboose?
I know some woman who could hide a machine gun in there.
Yeah.
Leave me out of this, you weirdo. Here's John.
I gotta stop drinking these Celsius, by the way. There's a sparkling cherry cola. I don't know if you ever had this. Nick Bosa promotes these, so they've got to be healthy, right? I'm sure they're not. And I'm drinking a sparkling cola. What time is it? Pacific, 10:43 if you're watching this later. That's a bad habit. I was running a little late today, so I didn't have time to make coffee. So I just grabbed one of these out of the fridge. I have to hide these. Like in our outdoor fridge, where we have all the booze and the beer and all that kind of stuff, what I do is I take these, because if I just set them out, kids just suck them down. And so I put them behind all the booze, because in the beers and the seltzers and all that kind of stuff, because like they'll just drink them. And I'm like, oh, yeah, I got to hide these. And then sometimes I forget they're there. Like this morning, I was like, oh, I'm too late for coffee. And they're like, oh, I think I have one hidden. And I found one. I got to quit drinking all of them now. All right, before I play this for you, so what I was trying to do this morning, that when we come across fun and crazy, wild stories, I always try to find a news story for it, because I think it's just funny as hell that news anchors have to say certain things and talk about these stories and not laugh and all these kind of things. But I couldn't find one for this. It really pissed me off, because this would have been hilarious. But my question to you as I read this is that I want to ask you is, how do you actually move this stuff? So, somebody steals something, diamonds, drugs, whatever the case may be. And it's like, okay, well, how do you move those things? Well, you got to know somebody, right? If you're going to do this for a living, I don't know how you find that person. But anyway, I don't know how you'd move this, though. Australian man charged with cattle theft after 100, and I love how they wrote this headline, after $100,000 load of bull semen found. Australian man charged with cattle theft after $100,000 load, it's an expensive load, of bull semen found. So the guy stole, and by the way, what's better about this is it's Wagyu. The Wagyu beef, Wagyu beef. And it was a bull that produces the Wagyu beef and or whatever cattle. And it was worth $100,000, and he stole the bull semen. Wish there was a news story so someone actually had to do this, but this happened in Australia. And I would have, could you imagine how funny it would have been if we could have found an Australian news anchor with that accent and everything? Hello. No, that's not the right one. And 𝐬𝐮𝐬𝐫𝐞. But if we would have, that was better. Not still good, but better. But Australian man charged with cattle theft after $100,000 load of bull semen found. If you're an amateur, maybe that guy's a pro. I don't know. I don't know how he got the bull semen. I don't know where it was, a locked fridge. I don't know how much, $100,000. You know, I'm doing a bucket here. I don't know how much $100,000 of bull semen is. I have no idea. But I don't know how you sell that on the black market. You know, I don't know how you do that. Like on the underground. Like, I got $100,000 bull semen. I know where to move that. I know how to move that. Drugs, I could see you figuring that out. Diamonds, you know, whatever, jewelry, gold. Like there's certain things you could steal. Probably, a car, sell it for parts. I don't know. I mean, we talk about that all the time. They're like where was it? Alabama, Gulf Shores, Alabama, a few weeks ago, where they had the cocaine. They had the cocaine that washed up on shore. Yeah, you're in over your head on that one. Because there's two things. Number one, you don't know how to move that. You don't know how to cut that. And number two, it's like somebody's looking for that. So then you're going to be like, what is it? Old Country for New Men or whatever that movie was. Like somebody's coming after you. You can't move that much. You're not moving cocaine. Get out of here. You're not Al Pacino. You're not Scarface. But I mean, bull semen, where do you even start? No idea. No idea. How would you move that? The guy must know. The guy must know something because I guess he was working on the ranch. And so he's probably like, yeah, he's got an inn somewhere. Steals $100,000 worth of bull semen. Classic. I knew this would happen. Here are the jokes. Hi, Joe. Monica Lewinsky. Let's see. What else do we have? 𝐬𝐻𝐾𝐿A. Oh, those are both Joe. Well done, my friend. What else do we have? OnlyFans. Grand Theft Come. Very nice. That's a load of a load. Absolutely. Let's see. I just go around and look for stuff. I don't know. That's what's so funny is I used to laugh because, we're at the radio station and we're trying to find stuff for the Caboose. And I'm thinking if they ever came to me, because I knew all the guys, I knew all the tech guys. And it's like, dude, why are you going to these websites to look for these things? Like, I was shocked I didn't get fired. Like, this kind of a story right here. I'm going online on the company computer, not anymore, but Australian man charged with cattle theft after $100,000 load of bull semen. Like, who's going to that website? Well, I am. So anyway, special sauce. What else do we have here? That's enough. That's enough. Oh no. Are you going to tell me what's in those things? I bought those Celsius too. My son broke it down for me. It's a high level healthy energy drink, but not that healthy if you drink a ton of water. Yeah, I drink a ton of water, but every once in a while, like I'll just break down with those. I don't drink a ton of them. I'll probably get, I got to be honest right now, and I've told you this before, the cherry cola flavor one, which really doesn't taste like cherry cola all that much. But like, I'll go to Safeway and I'll buy maybe a couple. And then I do, like I said, I'll hide them behind stuff and then I forget about them. And then every once in a while I go, oh, it'll be a morning. It's like, I used to tell people, like, I'll give you a great example. When I first started in 95.7, I was doing middays. And Whitey Gleason, you remember the Rise guys, and Kreidler and Dibley would do the morning show. Great show. And you'd look in the garbage can, and I'm not kidding you. I don't know if Whitey still does this. He would drink like, I can't remember if it was Diet Pepsi or Diet Coke, but he'd drink like 6 to 8 of those. Now, remember, it's a 4-hour show, so he'd drink like 2 of those an hour. It's like, bro, like, no. Like, I can't, like, and I would always tell him, like, how can you drink cola? How can you drink like a cola beverage, diet or otherwise, in the morning? Like, I can't do that. And now, like I said, I don't do it often, but like, I'm this kind of person that's like, coffee in the morning with, breakfast in the morning, coffee in the morning, lunch, eat certain things. Dinner is about a certain thing. Like, even though I think like when I was a kid, I would do it, like breakfast for dinner it blows my mind. It's kind of like with sports. Like, you know what I mean? Like they do these spring football leagues and I'm like, no. Football is fall, NBA basketball is winter, baseball is summer. Like when they would try to mix those kind of things, I'm like, no, freak my brain out. Same thing with food. It's like, no. Not eating breakfast or dinner. That's not me. And I'm not drinking Cokes in the morning. Anyway. Anything else on this? I watched Shane Gillis while eating a hot dog with ketchup. Well done. All right. Thanks to everybody for hanging out on a Thursday edition of the program. Please make sure that you have those alerts on. Make sure you hit us with a like before you get out of here today as well. We are past the slowest sports day of the year. That is very, very nice. What else do we have today? Please make sure you subscribe, not only on John Lund Unleashed on YouTube, but please the Bay Area Sports Collective. That would be dandy as well. Thank you today for watching on Instagram at John Lund Radio, X at John Lund Radio as well. If you would migrate over to the YouTube channel, that would be greatly appreciated. Thank you for not working and watching on LinkedIn as well and Facebook, where you can always friend me. So you can do that as well. Any type of platform you watch, thank you. But we would love to have you over here on John Lund Unleashed on YouTube if you could make that happen. All right. No, I agree with you. Breakfast for dinner sometimes is fantastic. I got to be honest, but it does freak me out. Like, I'm like, okay, I'm eating, well, like chicken and waffles is different, but like I'm eating pancakes with bacon right now. It's like my brain's going, what time is it? It just trips me out. My wife likes cereal, by the way. My wife likes cereal late at night. I'm like, ugh, no chance. God, how good it was. How good's Kreidler's kid? I mean, I know he's not I don't think he's in the majors, right? Ryan. But damn, that was cool going through that a little bit with him. Like his kids at UCLA, and my God, that was cool. What else? A lot of bowl semen jokes now. All right, that'll do it for a Thursday edition. I know it's funny that you would say that. I'm not a big cereal person, period. And then anytime it's like my wife loves cereal. I don't know what it is, man. My wife loves cereal. I'm not a huge cereal guy. So anyway, there you go. All right, that is John Lund Unleashed for episode 193. Everybody have a wonderful day. Get those alerts on. Please make sure you subscribe, and please, before you get out of here, give us a like. Thanks, and have a wonderful Thursday.
Thanks for hanging out with John Lund Unleashed. We'll try to be better next time, though I wouldn't hold my breath. Please like and subscribe on the John Lund Unleashed Pod YouTube channel. Watch live shows weekdays at 8 a.m. on YouTube, Instagram, and X. And make sure to have your alerts on for shows throughout the day or night. All things Lund can be found at johnlundunleashed.com. johnlundunleashed.com.
Goodbye!